There are 9 red flags you simply cannot ignore. Most men don't lose because they choose the wrong woman. They lose because they ignore the warning signs that were there from the very beginning. Attraction can make you blind, emotions can cloud your judgment, and by the time you realize what's happening, you've already invested your time, energy, and peace of mind. The truth is, some red flags don't just predict a bad relationship, they predict heartbreak, manipulation, and years of regret. In this video, we'll uncover the 9 biggest red flags every man must recognize before it's too late. Miss even one, and it could cost you more than you ever imagined. Comment, I choose clarity. Number 1. She doesn't have a father figure. Growing up without a positive father figure can leave deep emotional gaps that follow a person into adulthood, but it is not the absence itself that should concern you. What matters is whether she has taken responsibility for healing those wounds, or whether she expects every man she meets to carry the weight of them. If she constantly looks for you to fix her pain, calm every emotional crisis, prove your loyalty every single day, or become the source of her entire emotional security, you slowly stop being a partner and become a caretaker. Many men ignore this because they believe love means sacrificing everything, yet they discover that no amount of patience is ever enough when someone refuses to work on herself. You start walking on eggshells, carefully choosing every word because one small disagreement becomes proof that you do not care. Your own needs disappear while all your energy goes into keeping the relationship together. A healthy relationship is built by 2 people who take ownership of their lives instead of expecting one person to rescue the other. Pay attention to how she handles difficult emotions. Does she reflect on her actions, seek growth and accept help when needed? Or does she expect you to carry every burden while she avoids personal responsibility? Your job is not to save another adult. Your job is to build a life with someone who stands beside you instead of leaning on you every step of the way. Real strength is knowing that compassion does not require self-sacrifice. You can care about someone while still protecting your peace, your purpose, and your future. The strongest decision is often the quiet one, where you step back, observe actions instead of promises, and choose a relationship based on stability rather than guilt. Number 2. She never takes responsibility. Nothing drains a relationship faster than someone who believes every problem is always somebody else's fault. At first it seems small. She blames her family, her friends, her co-workers, her former partners, or bad luck. You tell yourself she has simply had a difficult life, so you give her the benefit of the doubt. As time passes, a pattern begins to appear. Every disagreement somehow becomes your fault. Every misunderstanding is explained away without any honest reflection. Every apology comes with an excuse that shifts the blame somewhere else. You begin questioning yourself even when you know you acted fairly, because constant blame slowly wears down your confidence. A relationship cannot grow when only one person is willing to admit mistakes. Growth starts with accountability, and without it the same problems repeat again and again. Watch how she responds when she is challenged respectfully. Can she admit she handled something poorly, or does she immediately become defensive and change the subject? Character is revealed most clearly when someone is wrong, not when everything is going well. You cannot build trust with someone who refuses to examine her own behavior, because every conflict becomes another cycle that leaves you exhausted. The answer is not to argue louder or spend hours proving your point. Stay calm, speak clearly, and let actions guide your decisions. Protect your standards without anger and without trying to convince someone who refuses to listen. Your time, your energy, and your self-respect are valuable. Invest them in relationships where responsibility is shared, where both people learn from mistakes, and where honesty is stronger than pride. That is the kind of foundation that allows a man to build a peaceful and meaningful life. Number 3. She loves too much attention. Attention by itself is not a problem. Everyone enjoys being appreciated, noticed, and valued from time to time. The real concern begins when attention becomes the center of her identity, and she constantly needs it from everyone around her instead of building confidence from within. You notice that every outing becomes another chance for validation. Every social platform becomes a competition for approval, and every conversation somehow turns into an opportunity to collect compliments. At first you tell yourself it is harmless, but over time you realize your presence is never enough, because the approval she seeks cannot be satisfied by one person. You begin comparing yourself to strangers without meaning to, wondering why your loyalty never seems to carry the same weight as the attention she receives from everyone else. That slowly drains your confidence and shifts your focus away from your own purpose. Instead of building your future, you spend your energy trying to compete for a place you should never have to compete for. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, not constant reassurance. Watch what she values when nobody is asking her to perform for others. Does she enjoy quiet moments, meaningful conversations, and shared goals? Or does she always need another audience? Character shows itself in ordinary moments far more than public ones. Your response is not to become controlling or suspicious. Stay calm, observe consistently, and judge patterns instead of isolated events. Protect your standards without arguments and without trying to change another adult. A man who knows his value never begs to become someone's priority. He chooses relationships where respect is freely given, trust grows naturally, and both people invest in each other without constantly searching for approval elsewhere. That decision protects your peace far more than trying to convince someone to become a different person. Number 4. She always plays the victim. Life brings hardship to everyone, and difficult experiences deserve compassion, but compassion should never replace discernment. Pay close attention when every disagreement, every failed friendship, every broken relationship, and every setback is explained by pointing at someone else. Over time, a pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Every former partner is described as completely wrong. Every conflict at work is blamed on unfair people. Every misunderstanding with family becomes proof that nobody appreciates her, and every criticism is treated as an attack instead of an opportunity to grow. At first, you step in because you want to help, believing your support will finally give her the stability she has been missing. Before long, you discover that nothing changes because responsibility never changes hands. You become the next person expected to solve problems that only she can address. Eventually, when disagreements arise between the two of you, the same pattern reaches your relationship. Suddenly, your intentions are questioned, your words are misunderstood, and every conversation becomes about defending yourself rather than solving the issue together. This cycle slowly exhausts even the strongest man, because peace cannot exist where accountability is absent. The solution is not endless debates or trying to prove your innocence. Stay composed, listen carefully, and observe whether actions match words over time. Healthy relationships require two adults who can admit mistakes, learn, and improve together. If one person refuses to examine her own choices, growth comes to a standstill. Your responsibility is not to carry another person's entire emotional burden. Your responsibility is to guard your integrity, maintain clear boundaries, and choose relationships where honesty, maturity, and shared responsibility are stronger than pride. That choice may not always be easy, but it creates a life built on stability instead of constant emotional exhaustion. If today's message has opened your eyes to patterns you can no longer ignore, then the Stoic Relationship Blueprint is your next step, because it is packed with timeless principles that help you build unshakable confidence, stronger boundaries, emotional discipline, and lasting self-respect. And the best part is that it is now available as an audiobook, so you can absorb this life-changing wisdom while driving, working out, jogging, or going about your day. And once you own it, it is yours forever, giving you lifetime access whenever you need a reminder of the man you are becoming, with the link waiting for you in the comments. If you want to go even deeper, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course for men is launching in the coming weeks with practical lessons designed to help you apply these principles every day. So comment Blueprint below to get early access and be among the first to take the next step toward transforming your life. Number 5. She has no respect for boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling another person. They are about protecting your values, your time, your peace, and your self-respect. A relationship begins to lose its foundation when one person repeatedly ignores those boundaries after they have been clearly communicated. At first, the signs seem small. She dismisses your need for personal time, makes jokes at your expense after you ask her to stop, pressures you to abandon your priorities, or becomes upset whenever you choose your responsibilities before her immediate wants. You tell yourself that keeping the peace is easier than speaking up, so you give in a little. Then you give in again. Before long, your own standards become negotiable, while hers remain non-negotiable. You start changing your routine, your friendships, your hobbies, and even your long-term goals just to avoid another argument. The relationship slowly becomes built around avoiding conflict instead of creating mutual respect. That is not love. It is a pattern that leaves one person constantly adjusting while the other rarely compromises. Pay attention to how she responds when you calmly say no. A mature partner may be disappointed, but she respects your decision and continues treating you with dignity. Someone who repeatedly ignores your limits often responds with guilt, pressure, silent treatment, or emotional outbursts designed to make you question yourself. That is the moment to remain calm instead of reacting emotionally. You do not need to raise your voice, defend every decision, or win every argument. State your position clearly, allow your actions to remain consistent, and accept that not everyone will agree with your standards. Consistency carries far more weight than endless explanations. Your life becomes stronger when your words and actions match. The right relationship never requires you to abandon your identity just to keep another person comfortable. It allows both people to grow while respecting each other's individuality. When you protect your boundaries without anger or resentment, you send a message that your self-respect is not available for negotiation. That quiet confidence attracts healthier relationships than constant people-pleasing ever will. Every time you choose your principles over temporary approval, you build a stronger future for yourself, and that future is worth protecting. Number 6. She lies about small things. Trust is not usually destroyed by one dramatic moment. It is worn away by repeated small choices that slowly make you question what is true and what is not. Small lies may appear harmless at first. She changes details of a story, hides simple facts that never needed to be hidden, gives different explanations depending on who is listening, or avoids straightforward answers when honest communication would solve the issue immediately. You may convince yourself that everyone tells little lies from time to time, but patterns matter far more than isolated moments. Small dishonesty often reveals how someone handles responsibility when telling the truth becomes uncomfortable. If honesty disappears during ordinary situations, it becomes much harder to rely on it when life presents real challenges. Living in constant doubt slowly drains your peace because your mind begins searching for certainty where there should already be trust. Healthy relationships remove unnecessary confusion rather than creating it. Pay attention to whether her words consistently match her actions over time. Promises should be followed by action, not repeated explanations. When you notice inconsistencies, do not rush to accuse or argue. Ask clear questions, remain composed, and observe the response. Someone who values honesty welcomes clarity, even when the conversation is uncomfortable. Someone who avoids accountability often becomes defensive, changes the subject, or introduces new explanations instead of addressing the original issue. Your responsibility is not to become suspicious of everyone you meet. Your responsibility is to recognize patterns without ignoring them simply because emotions are involved. Strong judgment comes from patience, observation, and consistency rather than impulse. Never allow loneliness to lower your standards for honesty. A relationship without trust becomes exhausting because every conversation carries uncertainty. Choose to invest your time in people whose actions consistently support their words. That choice protects your confidence, strengthens your peace of mind, and allows you to build relationships based on reliability instead of constant doubt. The more you value honesty in your own life, the easier it becomes to recognize it in others, and that single standard will save you from many painful situations in the years ahead. Number 7. She cannot control her emotions. Every person experiences anger, sadness, disappointment, and frustration, but maturity is measured by how those emotions are managed, not by whether they exist. A relationship becomes exhausting when every disagreement turns into a dramatic event instead of an opportunity to solve a problem together. At first, you may excuse the emotional outbursts because everyone has difficult days. Then the pattern continues. A simple conversation becomes an argument. A small misunderstanding grows into hours of tension. You begin choosing your words carefully, not because you are dishonest, but because you are trying to avoid another emotional explosion. Over time, your own peace disappears. You stop expressing your opinions openly because you expect every difficult conversation to become emotionally overwhelming. That is not healthy communication. A strong relationship creates space for honesty without fear. Pay attention to how she responds when life becomes difficult. Does she pause before reacting, listen before making assumptions, and return to the conversation once emotions settle? Or does every challenge become another reason to lose control? Character is revealed during uncomfortable moments far more than comfortable ones. Your responsibility is not to absorb another person's emotional reactions or sacrifice your own stability in the hope that things will eventually improve. Stay calm when emotions rise. Speak clearly instead of matching intensity with intensity. Do not allow temporary emotions to control permanent decisions. Sometimes the strongest response is patience. Sometimes the strongest response is walking away from an argument until both people can think clearly. Protecting your peace is not weakness, it is discipline. The more control you develop over your own responses, the less influence other people's emotions have over your decisions. That quiet confidence changes every area of your life. You stop reacting to every challenge, you become more thoughtful under pressure, and you build relationships where respect grows stronger than emotional chaos. The goal is not to find someone who never struggles. The goal is to build a life with someone who is willing to face struggles with maturity, honesty, and self-control. Number 8. She keeps toxic friends. The people someone chooses to spend time with often reveal more than words ever can. Values, habits, priorities, and attitudes are shaped by the company we keep. If her closest friends constantly encourage dishonesty, unnecessary drama, disrespect, or unhealthy decisions, pay attention before assuming she will somehow remain untouched by that influence. You may notice that every conflict is encouraged instead of resolved Every disagreement is turned into entertainment, and every poor decision is defended instead of questioned. At first, you hope your relationship will be different. You believe your influence will outweigh everything around her. Then you realize that lasting change cannot be forced by one person. The environment someone willingly returns to every week says a great deal about what they accept as normal. That does not mean judging someone because of a single friend or expecting perfection. It means looking honestly at repeated patterns over time. Ask yourself whether the people closest to her encourage honesty, accountability, kindness, and growth, or whether they constantly celebrate unhealthy behavior and discourage personal responsibility. The same question should also be directed toward your own life. Look at your own friendships with the same honesty you expect from a partner. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to improve, who celebrate discipline instead of recklessness, and who encourage you to stay true to your values even when life becomes difficult. Your environment quietly shapes your future, one decision at a time. Choose relationships that bring stability rather than constant confusion. Do not waste energy trying to change someone who has no desire to grow. Instead, invest that energy into becoming a stronger version of yourself, building meaningful friendships, pursuing your purpose, and creating a life that reflects your principles. When your standards become clear and your actions remain consistent, you naturally attract people who share those values. That is where lasting trust, respect, and genuine connection begin. Number 9. She never supports your growth. A relationship should make both people stronger, not smaller. When someone truly cares about you, she wants to see you become the best version of yourself. She respects your goals, encourages your discipline, and understands that building a meaningful life requires time, patience, and sacrifice. When that support is missing, the relationship slowly becomes a place where your ambitions are questioned instead of encouraged. You begin putting your dreams aside to avoid conflict. You hesitate before taking new opportunities because you expect criticism instead of encouragement. Little by little, your confidence fades, not because you lack ability, but because you are constantly defending the life you are trying to build. A healthy partner may disagree with your decisions at times, but she does not make you choose between your purpose and your relationship. She looks for ways to solve problems together instead of asking you to abandon what matters most to you. Ask yourself a simple question. Since this relationship began, have you become more disciplined, more confident, more focused, and more at peace? Or have you become distracted, uncertain, and disconnected from your goals? The answer reveals more than promises ever will. Never build your future around the hope that someone will eventually become supportive. Build your future around consistent actions. Stay committed to your principles, even when doing so is uncomfortable. Continue improving your health, your finances, your skills, your friendships, and your character, regardless of who stays or leaves. The strongest foundation you can build is one that does not depend on another person's approval. When your purpose becomes clear, your decisions become clearer as well. You stop trying to convince people to believe in your potential and start proving it through steady action. That quiet consistency earns respect over time. Choose relationships where encouragement flows both ways, where success is celebrated instead of resented, and where both people push each other toward a better future. Your greatest responsibility is to become the kind of man who lives according to his values every single day, because when you protect your purpose and refuse to compromise your integrity, you create a life that no temporary relationship can take away. Your future changes the moment you stop giving away your self-respect and start living by principles that stand firm under pressure. And if you're ready to take that step, comment, "I choose discipline," like this video, and subscribe so more men can discover these lessons before they spend years learning them the hard way. Then grab the Stoic Relationship Blueprint for Men linked in the comments, now also available as an audiobook so you can listen while driving, jogging, training, or going about your day, knowing this life-changing knowledge is yours forever whenever you need it most. I'm also putting the final touches on the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course, built from more than 2,000 years of timeless principles that have stood the test of time and are designed to help you apply them to your life and relationships. Because while many voices profit from keeping you distracted instead of disciplined, your transformation begins the moment you decide to invest in wisdom that no one can ever take away.